Hey everyone, welcome back to Deer and Donuts, and I want to paint you a picture of an absolutely monumental moment in really any outdoorsman's life. Just cruising along through life and then suddenly it hits you. It's time. It's time for a new rifle. Oh man, it warms my heart. It's like adding a new child to the family. And as any parent will tell you, you want to treat this child right. You want to make the decisions that set it up for success. Well, one of those decisions we're going to talk about today is your rifle scope. Now, gone are the days of just wandering into your local shop and picking your favorite brand and just slapping it on. There are a lot of decisions you have to make when considering your rifle scope now, and today we're going to talk about one of them. First focal plane versus second focal plane scopes. So as always, we're going to dive into the pros and cons of both, really help you make a decision on what is right for your hunting style, shooting style, and your baby, that new rifle. Let's just go over some basics of the differences between first focal plane and second focal plane. Now, the first focal plane, as you get your reticle and you change that magnification, the size of the reticle is going to change. For second focal plane, no matter what you change your magnification to, that rifle scope reticle, it's gonna stay the same size. Only your background is going to change as far as the magnification. But that reticle, it's going to stay exactly the same. We are going to start with second in the focal planes, but possibly first in your heart, SFP scopes. Now at this point in the game, most rifle scope reticles are coming with some sort of holdover system, whether it just be dashes up and down a crosshair or an actual Christmas tree. There's a lot of different choices for reticles, but most of them, unless you're going with like the standard loophole duplex, have some sort of holdover system in them. In second focal plane scopes, no different, but it comes with one little catch, and that is that because this reticle does not change at all through your magnification ranges, you have to be on a certain magnification for those holdovers to work correctly. So let's say your scope is in mil, every dash is 0.2 of a mil. Well, at 15 power, it could be 0.2 of a mil because that is what the scope is designed to use for that subtension. But you move it somewhere else and it could be wildly different, and it makes it a lot harder to use that holdover. Now, I've talked to people that know the different holdovers and know as they change in their scope magnification range, what those holdovers are going to start transitioning to, but it's not consistent. You don't just have, this is 0.2 of a mil throughout all my magnifications. That does come with some benefits though. Second focal plane scopes should not just be written off. They're generally less expensive to make. So if you're looking for a little bit more budget scope, you can save just a fraction of the cost of the scope by going second focal plane. The other thing that they do much better is having that consistent reticle size. We'll talk about it shortly, but first focal planes, as you work to the bottom end of your magnification range, the reticle gets really, really small. And sometimes that's really hard to use if you're hunting dark timber or you're a whitetail hunter in a tree stand, in a wooded patch. Having that tiny little reticle really doesn't work. But that is really where the second focal plane scopes absolutely shine. Because that reticle stays the same no matter what, it is really easy to find at all magnification ranges. Swapping to first focal plane scopes, like I said, that reticle, it changes with your magnification range. And the big benefit of that is your holdovers. They work no matter what. So if you're in that moment of truth and you need to start doing some quick calculations, maybe the wind changed, maybe the deer moved up the hill a little bit, and you have to start holding a different way. Well, now you don't have to worry about, is my scope on just the right magnification to make this work? Nope, first focal plane, 1 mil on the reticle is 1 mil on the reticle, hold and send it. So just Matt's opinion, I think first focal plane allows you to be a little bit more dynamic and a little bit quicker in your shooting if things aren't perfect and things change. But if second focal plane is cheaper, well then obviously first focal plane is a little bit more expensive. So which one is right for you? Well, I think that really depends on what you're gonna use that rifle for. If you're a Midwest whitetail hunter and you're hunting a tree stand over a decent sized food plot and you just want something that can get you out, I don't know, 200 yards, but as you dial back the magnification to let in more light at last light when deer come out, but you still want that scope to be usable, well, second focal plane might be the way to go. You're not going to do a ton of holdovers, most likely, But what is really, really important to you is being able to use that reticle at last light, even on the lowest magnifications. And that's really where that second focal plane scope shines. Now, conversely, I think first focal plane scopes are ideal potentially for someone that is really trying to squeeze the most range out of their rifle, whether that be hunting, whether that be competition, or realistically, potentially both. Being able to change the magnification and know exactly what your holdovers are still going to do, or move with the target as it changes range, or if you're in competition, swing between target 1 and target 2 and still know that your holdovers are going to be good. That's exactly what a first focal plane scope is designed for. I think the key is to honestly assess what your hunting and shooting needs are. First focal plane scopes seem to be the cool thing right now, but that doesn't mean it's the best for your setup. I think you really need to evaluate your shooting style, your shooting abilities, and the terrain you hunt in and or shoot in. Now, I will tell you that most of my rifles have a first focal plane scope on them, but that is purely because I did exactly what I said and I evaluated what my shooting needs are. I try and get multiple uses out of my rifles. They're both for hunting and for competition. So being able to really use that first focal plane scope to cover all of that has been beneficial to me. But when I was back in the Midwest, purely doing whitetail, I can tell you shotgun, muzzleloader, rifle, didn't matter. Second focal plane scope was going on it because that is what worked there. So again, really evaluate what works for you and do me a favor, jump on down to the comments. Let me know what you think is ideal and if I missed something. I hope this was helpful in you deciding which focal plane to go with for your next rifle scope. I'm Matt with Deer and Donuts. Until next time, goodbye.